Hi guys, so today I'm going to be telling you a pretty serious story that I haven't really shared all of it with my audience, but it's pretty personal and I just want to be real with you guys. So when I was 15, I was not in the best mental state and I met a guy who was 19, and at the time I was so young I didn't realize that this is an older guy. Why doesn't he just get with someone his age? But you know, with me being so young and naive, he basically said, I love you, I'll take care of you, and gave me the attention, you know, a 15-year-old girl needs and wants. Well, as time goes on, he starts peer pressuring me to have sex with him. And I didn't want to at first because I thought, well, what if I get pregnant? And I hadn't been very educated with sex ed, and growing up in Missouri in a small town, they don't educate that as well. But he wanted to have sex with me, and so he just kept peer pressuring me, and I kept telling him, no, I don't want to get pregnant. From there, he told me, he says, I can't have children, so no matter what, you will not get pregnant. So he assured this to me, and I asked him, you swear, you promise, and he said, I promise you will not get pregnant. And at the time, I should have realized, one, this guy is 19. Two, if he can't, obviously this guy is taking advantage of me. But at that time, I didn't realize. So I had slept with him, and he also wasn't doing things fully consensual. And I don't want to get too into detail about that because it's kind of gross, if you know what I mean. But I wouldn't have said yes if I would have known he was lying. But of course, I was young and naive. And so a few months go by and I find out that I'm pregnant. And I am absolutely destroyed. I don't know what to do. I feel gross, I feel yucky because this older man took advantage of me. And not only is that messed up, but also that's statutory rape, which I did not know at the time. So if you are an adult and you're taking advantage of someone so young, that is statutory rape. And also lying about you not having kids so someone else can consent is basically rape on its own. You may disagree, but with me, that's just taking advantage of me, and it was absolutely awful. So at this point, I didn't know what to do. I thought I would get an abortion, but I couldn't go through with that. And my parents told me, you can't get an adoption or we will take you to court. So for months and months and months, I forced myself to think I can raise this child without a father. Also, that guy was on drugs, so that's not cool. So basically, I would have been a single mom at 15, living in my parents' house with no income, no money, and because my parents told me I couldn't get an adoption, I forced myself to believe that. So 3 weeks before I give birth, they tell me, you know, my mom says, you know, if you can have an adoption, you can. And it absolutely killed me. Imagine going through your whole pregnancy, forcing yourself to believe you can have a baby and care for it, with also being a single mother from a guy who manipulated you and used you. And then 3 weeks before you give birth, you basically get the permission to have an adoption. So I start crying, and I ended up going through with it, and I had an adoption, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I remember being in the hospital was one of the worst nights of my entire life. I wish I could say it was the best day of my entire life. I feel like every mother should be able to say that about their child, but I couldn't. It was the worst day, having to go through that at such a young age and see my body change. It was really hard. Obviously, I'm in my life now where things are better, and I never regret my adoption, but it was hard, and I should have never been put in that position in the first place. I should have never been lied to, I should have never been manipulated, and I shouldn't have been treated like that. And that's something that is that's something that has embarrassed me for a long time. But you know, as I get older, I realize it was not my fault. It was not my fault that this older man took advantage of a little girl, of a 15-year-old girl. That is not my fault. It is not my fault I got pregnant. And you know, some people would say, you know, you still had sex, you still did this. But as much as that's true, the sexual education failed me, the man I was with failed me, and I was lied to. And you can disagree with that, but I feel like it wasn't fair. And so I just want to put it out there for all women. Don't let a man or someone else take advantage of you and your sexuality. That is so important. And you know, sex is a big deal. It should be special, hopefully, or at least be consensual in all forms and aspects. And you guys don't want to go through that. So that's my story, and hopefully that inspires other women or other people to be smart and protect themselves and their body. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.